Of the Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we've got a nice crowd here on this Columbus Day, but we've got room for you. If you have not decided where you're going to eat lunch, we invite you to come on over here and join us here at Wings Etc. And you can watch Monday Night Football tonight. This is the home of the NFL Sunday Ticket. You can watch every NFL game, college games. We've got the baseball playoffs, 2 games tonight in the National League Division Series. You can watch it all here at Wings Etc. in high definition, where you can also check out their terrific, newly remodeled burger menu here at Wings Etc. They have terrific burgers. They also have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. Their ultimate nachos are part of their appetizer lineup, and their deep fried pickle chips. If you've never tried those are certainly something to put on your to-do list. And if you're coming for lunch, their lunch specials start at just $9.49. It's the home of the Redhawks Coaches Show, Wings Etc. Good food and great times. We're going to be talking it over with Justin Drudik, assistant coach for Southeast Missouri State, Nebraska native. And we'll also talk it over with the Kansas native, Coach Tom Matukowicz. How are you, Coach?
Good. I think we just go ahead and hop right into this thing. You know, at the end of the day, the first question I get asked is, what's wrong with SEMO football? And so the simple answer is the head coach has not been very good the last 3 weeks. We have a collapse in the fourth quarter that shouldn't have happened, and it happened. And fans deserve answers. My players deserve answers. Like, at the end of the day, why did that happen? And so, that's what we've done, is we've studied it. At the end of the day, the mistake that I've made is we got away from our core philosophy. Our core philosophy here is about the process. Don't focus on results. You can't directly control results. Focus on the things that win, you'll win. And the problem was when we lost the fourth quarter in SIU, and then again in EKU, we made it about, God, we can't lose the fourth quarter. Can't lose the fourth quarter. We've got to win the fourth quarter. And yours truly was ramming it home to Lena. Even. Like, we got to win, we got to win. And what happened was, you get out there and guys aren't thinking about doing their job. They're not thinking about their fundamentals. They're not thinking about anything but, I got to make a play, or my coordinators are like, God, I got to make a call. And we press and we play tight. We can't even make a play now because of the mindset that I created. And so we got to do a better job of getting back to our fundamentals. I suspended the fourth quarter song. At the end of the day, it feels like it has gotten to this thing that we're more excited about, people looking at us dancing around instead of making sure we go out there and play well. And so I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. I'm trying to solve a problem. We need to, at the end of the day, when the fourth quarter hits, or when any kind of really critical situation in life or in a football game, you don't want to rise to the occasion. You want to sink to your level of training, right? It's no different. A critical situation that happens with the Navy SEALs. Somebody freaks out, people die because they don't go to their training, and that's what we need to do. And I want my players and I want my coaches to do this. I want them to do their job and sign off. Just do your best. Like, that's enough. We don't need to do more, and that will allow our bodies to go make plays. Now, that's not the only thing. If we get a great mindset, we still have to play better, and there's some things that we got to do better. We still got to tackle. We still got to run the ball, even though when they know we're going to run it to pick up a first down. We got to be able to make, there's one ball, 2 athletes out there, and we got to be able to come away with some of those plays that were one-on-one. If nothing else, we need to get it down, tackle as soon as it does catch. And so that's how there's an epic collapse, and I think what's also important is that we don't sit there and we talk about the failures, but we also talk about the positives. But one of the main reasons I coach and the purpose of SEMO football is to use the sport to make better men. Like, at the end of the day, that's what gets me up in the morning. And there's some great lessons. How to handle failure Like you could go through a failed marriage, you could go through a failed business, you could go through you will go through failure your whole life. And so this is an opportunity for me to teach and to lead them and how to truly handle failure. And really the only time you fail in life is when whatever adversity you're going through changes your character. If all of a sudden you're going through hard times and you lie, now you're a liar and going through hard times because it's changed who you are. If you stay to your core and your character, your beliefs, you never lose. And so that's the most important thing that we do as a program is we don't lose our character. We built this whole thing on family. Like at the end of the day, it's about us sticking together. We don't make excuses around here. We're not going to blame others. You know, it was a team loss. Special teams caused some of the problems. Offense couldn't get a first down. Defense couldn't get a stop. Like we lost as a team in the fourth quarter, so we got to own it. And the other thing that's a great life lesson is just how to handle criticism. You know, because, you know, before the season it was all about praise, praise, praise. And then now it's criticism, and you got to be in life. You got to be able to handle criticism. Like that's the way it is. If I get all upset because we're 1-4, or my ego can't handle a negative article or 1-4, that's not a negative article problem. That's a Tom Tukowicz problem, right? And being able to handle criticism. At the end of the day, if there's some truth in there, change, get better, right? If there's not, then you do with it just like you do anything that doesn't matter. You ignore it. And so this is a good time for our players to be able to handle it because they're getting a lot of heat. You know, it's homecoming and all these things. There's going to be a lot of people talking, and you know, you got to be able to handle criticism. So this is a great opportunity. That being said, with all the things that are going on, we can't lose sight of all of our hopes and dreams are still in front of us, right? The best thing that happened in this game is we got better. Like, as coaches, we looked at film and all that stuff, not necessarily just results. And for 3 quarters against a top 25 team, that might be the best we've played since I've been here. Like, I'm against good player or another good team. That was a top 25 team. Like, we played really well. Their running back averaged 10 yards a rush, and he averaged 2.5 versus us.
He was the nation's second leading rusher going into that game.
Right, and he had over 200. North Dakota State, Oklahoma State, like all those, and he didn't versus us. Gino had 7.5 yards a rush. Like, we challenged our team to win the line of scrimmage. That was a problem. And if you can get better in game 5, man, that says a lot about your team, your character. That's why it's amazing. You know, I get home last night. We do a fire pit family supper last night. And my wife, I come in, and obviously after working all day watching film, she said, well, how do you feel? And I was like, you know, I don't feel that bad, and I think the reason is because because we have good men on this team. Like, we have great players, but they're great people. We have great coaches, but they're great coaches. Like, at the end of the day, don't feel sorry for Tom Tukowicz. Like, Tom Tukowicz, you know, I get meaningful work. I have meaningful experiences. I have meaningful relationships. I have had unbelievable support from this community, and you know, we're going to keep running, and we're going to keep getting after it. And you know, I said, well, why should you come watch a 1-4 homecoming game? Like, at the end of the day, you might want to just show up, see how we respond. Like, really, like, this Southeast Missourians loving this. Everybody loves a collapse. You know, build up, and oh my God, you know, everybody's tuned in now to see the big collapse. And what I want to challenge our team to do is, look, 10 years from now, we're not going to be talking about the 3 losses. The story is going to be what story we want to tell, right? The story is going to be how we respond to those 3 losses and what it looks like. Do we run 6 off or not? We can, but will we? There's a reason we're losing, but it's also not something that's going to prevent us from winning the rest of them. And so, you know, we got to be able to bounce back. And I don't worry about this team too, because really since January, like, my football team's always showed up to work. Now, it hasn't always been good. There's been lots of problems, in fact, but I would never question them showing up excited to work, excited to play, and so I think we're going to get after it this weekend.
So
how about that for?
I think it's great. fantastic. I mean, fans were, I'm sure, they're very curious as to, okay, let's. I'd like to hear from Coach Tuke. Anybody that didn't hear the post game, and we didn't go in depth into everything as we do on this show. Wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I think those are very concise thoughts. And, let's face it, players are still young men, and they look to the leader for answers. Coach, why did this happen?
Yeah, and that goes back to leadership. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is don't say lead by example. Like, my team doesn't need me to sit here and do the thing. They need to hear the answers. They need to be told what went wrong and what can we do about it. And that's what a leader do. Like, they need me this week. And I need to be there for them as a leader. They need our coaches. They need our captains. They need our leadership council to provide leadership so we can give them clarity and focus and, just clarity of purpose for the week.
And it's not, I don't think that I can be proven wrong about this. This is just a fluke that the way these games have ended here, you have trailed for a total of 30 seconds in this 3-game stretch. 30 seconds. And you lost all 3 of them. I mean, that just, it's all, I mean, it's a fluke.
I feel like, it's like a soap opera. Shit only happens on TV, happens at SEMO. You get a stadium condemned. I've been coaching 30 years, never had that. You lose these type of games. We had the Murray terrible loss, but again, it goes back to how you consider failure. Like, I am thankful for all that failure, that it has caused a lot of growth in my life and in our team's life, our program's life, our university's life, and so that's a great lesson for us this week.
In the fourth quarter, on some of these big plays that Central Arkansas made, you had tackling issues.
Yeah.
As a coach, and I'm not saying you're not an offensive guy, but we know you're a defensive guy. What can you do to get better as a tackling team? What can you do to make sure that we're giving ourselves every opportunity to be sure-handed tacklers?
Well, you got to get in there and get specific. Like, at the end of the day, why are we missing a tackle? Right? Don't get caught up, oh my God, I can't believe I missed a tackle. No, get technical. What did you not do? There's a reason you missed a tackle, right? But really, we tackled better than we have, and all of the bad ones happened in the fourth quarter. Yep. So the real issue there is, I think we do need to watch our rep count. So a lot of our DBs are getting in the 70s and 80s on the rep count, and we need to try to save them a little bit to the fourth quarter. So we're going to change a little bit how we're repping the secondary, try to get some plays off of them so that they're fresh in the fourth quarter, because you miss tackles, because of fundamentals and stuff like that. But if you're making those same tackles in the first and the second and the third, well, then maybe it's something else. And I think fatigue has something to do with it, but I also think playing tight and oh my God, I can't miss this leads to missing it, instead of thinking about tracking a hip, violently clamp, the things that we teach fundamentally.
It's interesting. I'm a really big boxing fan. I know boxing's not as popular as it used to be in this country. Some fighters get so tight when early in the fight, that literally fatigues your body.
Yeah,
Late
exactly.
in the fight, they are absolutely out of gas.
Yeah.
That can happen to football players too.
Totally.
Tightness, I mean, it's a real thing.
Right, especially when this is so important. Like, our team they're begging for a win. Like, they want to win so bad. It's so important that your body just doesn't respond to that kind of stimulus very well. And you got to relax a little bit to be able to play well, which is coaching, which is why I started this whole thing. Like, our problems, Coach Tuke, but I'm going to get better this week, and hopefully our players respond and we'll get a homecoming win.
So a couple of weeks ago, you were on the show, and you said, okay, our focus this week is the third quarter. And you went through and documented the disappointment for you as a head coach, what you've seen with the numbers in the third quarter. How has that worked out for the football team? Because you have gotten out of the gates quickly in the third quarter, the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, we've done a good job. I think some of the nutrition stuff that we handled, and Coach Blackman and Coach Knapp has really done a good job of just making sure we're doing all the things we need to. Change kind of a warm-up routine out of half the time.
I've noticed 2 games where you're doing totally different things.
And so we were able to win both third quarters the last 2 weeks, and so now it's all about that fourth quarter.
And as a coach, I know, especially like baseball coaches, they've got to be a weatherman because you all have to plan for the weather. We're going to move the start time. What's the weather? You've got to be a coach. You've got to be a leader. And you've got to be a psychologist. Whether you've got the psychological training or not, that is part of the job of coaching. As a psychologist, what do you do to get the mindset of your players not using human nature as a, here we go again, is this going to happen again? Oh no, it's starting all over again. Because you don't want anyone to have that kind of mindset, right?
Yeah, it all goes back to leadership because you can't change human nature. When they scored the first touchdown in the fourth quarter, it started. You felt it, the momentum, and oh my God, that we could lose and I didn't lead right then. I should have got everybody out of their feelings and been like, we're fine, stop freaking out, do your job, sign off, and let's go win this. Instead, it just kept creeping and made it worse. And so I think we have to just understand our human nature. When that happens, we need to speak into that moment and make sure we get back on track and focusing on the things that win, not winning.
All right, so we focused on the things that went negatively for you in the football game. Let's talk about the things that went positive for you in the football game. And for me, one of the biggest positives, Geno Hess got on track. I mean, he was absolutely shut down early in the football game. You did not go away from the running game. You kept banging Geno, and he finishes with a 100-yard rushing game, the 19th of his career. That was one of the huge positives, not only for Hess, but I got to think that offensive line.
Yeah, totally. And we had some nice short yardage pickups. You know, up until that game, the only short yardage pickups we had been able to pick up was a sneak. You know, and so that's not good enough. We had 2 3rd and 2s that we picked up, and it's Geno and O-line, but he seemed to just refuse to get tackled a couple times, and that's what we need him to do while we're still building the O-line. But there's been progress, there's been movement there, but we still got to continue. But the line of scrimmage was the main thing that was concerning, and that's why you're so excited, because we did improve that versus a good team, not just because we were better than them. No, they're pretty good, you know. And so to be able to improve our run game was huge.
They've got 2 all-conference defensive ends on that football team. In fact, number 8, he was the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year in their conference.
Yeah,
he's the best defensive player. So you went up against 2 really, really good defensive linemen.
Yeah, totally. And I think they had a couple plays they made, but it didn't look out of place. Like our guys, if it failed, it was because of their fundamentals, you know, and so that's why we got to continue to do that. But those are some really good players. I thought our tight ends made a nice step, too. We've been on them about the point of attack, holding up against some of those D ends, and I thought they were improved. Not good enough. Like, I still think we could build skill and get better there, and I think Coach Cook would agree. But there's been progress.
So on this show last week, you had brought up the fact that Ryan Flournoy was practicing with a cast on his hand.
Yeah.
Now, you did not confirm or deny about whether or not he would have a chance to play in Conway on Saturday. Well, lo and behold, he's out there and plays and catches a touchdown. How impressed are you, and have you ever seen a receiver play with a cast, a hard cast on it? A receiver play with a hard cast on it?
No, it's my first. There's been they had it x-rayed. There was a lot of bone healing, and so they felt good about him playing, but they said he was going to need to be still in a cast. And you know, he's a special player. He loves his team. He wants to make plays for his teammates, and He said he was going to play all week, and I said, well, I'll let you know. And then at the end, he did. He played well. He blocked. He did all the things we asked, and it was a factor some, but really impressive. And that's why we got Coach Drudik on here that who I can't thank enough about. But pretty impressive by Ryan.
So I haven't always broadcast. I've seen every SEMO team since '97, I think. I was the sideline reporter back then. And the greatest wide receiver I've ever seen is Willie Ponder, and the numbers will back that up. And Christian Wilkerson, he's got to be like 1A. Paul McRoberts, 1A. But to me, Ryan Flournoy is in that upper category of receivers I've ever seen at SEMO. I mean, for those who aren't as familiar with Ryan Flournoy, talk a little bit about him and his talent.
I think he's got a chance to be drafted. I think the NFL really likes him. That's why he came back. For his last years, the NFL thought he could add value by going ahead a round or two if he would work on some things. And so, we've had a lot more NFL type people in to watch him and evaluate him. And so, he's gifted. But really what makes him special is just his mindset. He's the hardest worker. If I say, hey, we're going to run 100-yard sprints, he'll get 2 yards behind everybody. Nobody asked him to. No one told him to. But that's kind of his mentality. I remember him coming over to dinner with my wife, and my wife said, so what are your goals? And he said, well, I want to win a Super Bowl. Most kids say, I want to play in the NFL. Like, he's just different, in a lot of ways. But also, he wasn't ready-made. Like, Coach Drudik's done a really good job with him. He was pretty raw. He hasn't had a lot of coaching. He's been injured early in his career a little bit, too. So he was a raw guy that Coach Drudik has done a really good job. And really, Coach Drudik's done an amazing job recruiting. Like, we've had some pretty good wideouts here. And, we don't even talk about Vic. But
oh, by the way, he's the leading receiver in the Ohio Valley Big South Conference, right. DeMaurier Vic.
So, I mean, the job that he's done recruiting's been amazing.
How does it work with a guy like Vic? 4 years at Missouri State. Do they reach out? I mean, did he go in the portal? I mean, how do you hear that a guy like Vic is looking for a place to play? How does that
he
work?
Went in the portal,
okay.
But we had assistants on the staff from Missouri State that had coached him. I'm pretty wary of transfers. Like, you need to get verified somehow. Like, just some random guy wants to come here. No, stop talking. But if someone can verify the kind of character that he is, then we'll listen. And that's what happened. And then, we thought he was a good player all along. But still, he was a guy that needed to get better. When he got here, there were some things, and he has a low ego, and he really has improved. His grades have gotten a lot better too. Like, he's really got himself into a position to give him a chance to play in the NFL, but also help his teammate win a championship.
How about Dalen McDonald, another wide receiver, and he got his first touchdown on Saturday in Conway.
It's so great. He's such a good kid. Wants to be a coach. He's always got a smile on his face. We've had some injuries, so we've kind of moved him all around. We ended up having him go in at slot, which he hadn't played a lot of, and so there was some mental things there. But he had a nice game, and now that he's healthy, we feel like he can continue to still make those kind of plays for his teammates.
And once again, you get another good day at the office from your quarterback, Paxton DeLaurent. I hope nobody ever just starts taking him for granted that he's going to account for 4 touchdowns every game, but he does.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. Really steady. Obviously there's an interception on the Hail Mary, which doesn't count. Obviously, that's he has to continue to take care of the ball. I did think he put the ball in jeopardy a couple times, and so we got to make sure this week that we go back and dial that in.
They just flat out dropped a couple
right.
balls.
And so that's a concern, and so we got to get back to that. But he's been steady. He's been coachable. Some of his goals to not turn the ball over and stay healthy, and he's made good decisions with his body too, and really proud of the season he's put in there together so far.
So it became quite famous, the letter that his mother sent you to your home and asked you to take a look at it, and it's turned out to be a marvelous, marvelous thing. Since that became widely publicized, have you gotten any other letters yet, Coach?
No, he needs to stop bringing it up. Last thing I need to do is be talking to moms. All right. So, but what you say about that letter, what that letter told me was how he was raised, the character that he was raised with, the home that he come from. I knew that kid was something. Now we had to find out the football piece, but like some of the things that she was saying is uncommon, and so you just knew that this guy was raised well. And so that's kind of our team. Like, we have some really good people on this team because they come from great homes.
After watching the Philadelphia Eagles do their quarterback sneak and the way that they do it, I think they were like 5 for 5 yesterday. I mean, you can't stop it. At least you can't stop theirs. And you have adopted that. It was funny to see Central Arkansas have a quarterback sneak game. It was nothing like yours. It looked weird because, we're used to seeing what you're doing now. What is that called? When you're in the huddle, what's the name for that? What do you guys call it?
Whale.
Whale. So if Paxton says whale, everybody knows exactly.
Yeah, and now we're going to have to change the word because I think we say it out there. So thanks for giving that away to EIU. So
right.
One thing, we always count on you for jacking something up. So now we're going to have to work harder this week.
It's in my resume. It's if it can be jacked, I
jacked it up.
Jack of all trades.
Drudik will know if we gave away their secrets, but.
So
anyway, it's been effective, but Paxton doesn't squat 700 pounds like the Eagles guy. Yeah. So it's effective, but let's not get carried away.
You got 4 yards on a quarterback sneak on Saturday.
Yeah,
4 yards.
And it goes back to the O-line, right?
Yeah. And do the I know in the past when I've talked to offensive linemen, they like run blocking way better than they like pass blocking. Pass blocking, they get beat on. They get to deliver the blow if you're run blocking. Do your linemen like that play?
Yeah, totally. Sometimes the D-line will just cut their legs, and so some of that's not exactly. He wants to sign up for that. Yeah. But totally, like if it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, that's what you're thinking about as an O-lineman. Like, run behind me type of thing. I'm going to get you a yard. So, obviously Zach Giggs a great player because you got to snap it and then run right. You think how hard that is to snap, but then go that way with everybody right in front of you. It's pretty tough. So if you don't have a good center, it's not really an option.
So my wife Dawn and I were in the elevator at the Embassy Suites, and several players got in, including Zach Gigg, and he was talking to one of his teammates, talking about how they forced a cheeseburger on him. And it said, hey, you need to eat a cheeseburger. And so he said he ate a cheeseburger.
For the first time
in
his life?
No.
Oh.
Just apparently Gig is one of those guys, keep feeding our center, apparently.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, I'm sorry Don had to spend the weekend with you at the hotel.
It was tough. So one thing I do want to say is, how in the world did you book the Embassy Suites? Now, those are the best hotels. I've probably stayed there 5 or 6 times over the years. Those are the absolute best, and they've got an omelet chef. I mean, your players appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah,
don't they?
we got to try to travel well, but that's this whole post-COVID thing. Like, our travel budget has exploded. We can't even eat it's like $30 a plate. Like,
wow,
$40. Like, we really struggle on that way, but I don't know if it's because it's where it's located. Man, we got a great deal there. And we have a hotel person that shops those things around, and so just ended up working out.
Are you an omelet guy? I mean, did you go try out the omelet chef there?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Very important. They are tremendous.
Yeah.
The omelet chef. All right, one of the critical questions that I think fans want an answer to is anybody who has been to a SEMO football game and sees you on the sideline, first of all, you're a pacer. You're always pacing. And secondly, where did the rubbing of the hands? We need the origin of the furious hand rubbing on the sidelines.
Well, it's genetic.
Okay.
So my dad does it. Georgia, my daughter does it. But I remember the first time Lena saw it, I swear she about jumped out of the car when she saw me do it for the first time ever. So I'm not exactly sure. I think there's something wrong with me. Like, I think I have a demon inside me that I have to calm down because I'm not good unhinged. I'm probably fun to watch, but if you're in my way, it's a bad deal, you know. And so I don't know if that's where it comes from or not, but people would make fun of me when I was young, but then I kind of just realized I don't really care what you think. If that's what my nature is, do it.
It's funny you say that. When we're in high school, that age, traditionally we care so much about what people say or think. And, you know, at some point, a lot of people, myself included, I get to the point where I gave up caring a long time ago. I'm doing my thing. You know, that's not an easy.
Did I tell you I had a speech impediment?
Mine's no.
So when I was young, I had tubes in my ears.
Okay.
And evidently I was, you know, couldn't hear very good, but I rolled my R's bad. You know, so it'd be like a wascally wabbit or whatever, and I'd get made fun of in high school, in like junior high or whatever. Well, you know, I was an underdeveloped guy, so the only way I knew was like, oh, really? Is that funny? Out on the play yard, but it's helped me now. You know, all of the things that you kind of go through, and you just realize, you know, people's opinions doesn't matter. You know, when you're young, you know, you don't have any confidence because you're all about what others think. We all need the inner scoreboard. The scoreboard that truly matters in life is the one we have inside, not the outside. With your effort, your attitude, and how you go about things.
Yeah, I understand about the playground thing. When you grow up with red hair,
yeah,
you got to win.
You probably took some.
You got to win some fights on the playground, and that stuff stops.
You got to
be able to win it.
I broke a guy's collarbone on what's the thing that goes around? You know, when you're young.
Merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round. Yeah. Said something, and he tried to get on, and I body slammed him off the merry-go-round. And his parents showed up at the house wanting us to pay the medical bills. It's a bad night for me that night.
Justin Drudik is going to join us, wide receivers coach. Is he responsible for anything else other than?
He handles our kickoff return.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, he's been here a while. I remember when I hired him, we couldn't get him on the payroll right away because of whatever happened. But so he worked here for 2 months without pay.
Wow.
Lived with like a random guy in an apartment, just like really sacrificed. And I've always appreciated, you know, I was able to give him his first full-time Division I coaching job. He came with us from Mesa with Coach McDowell, but I loved him as just a man, a husband, and a father, and all that. What surprised me about is his ability to recruit. Because you talk to him, he look about like he looks, like him and Brady, like really milk toast, like you don't know, you know. I mean, but he's kind of undercover dog in recruiting, and so he's done a really good job since he's been here. He wants to be a head coach, and I'm really hoping that he gets that opportunity. There'd be nothing that would make me happier, and we obviously don't want to miss or lose his family and him and all that. But you know, he's probably, you know, a year or two away from something like that, so we probably won't have him long. But we're thankful that he's here, and all the help he's done with the receivers, and our offense has been pretty good since those guys have been here.
Who are some of the guys he's responsible for recruiting who are here now?
I got the best one is Leftwich. Do you know who that is? Our punter.
Yeah, Tennessee Whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tennessee Whiskey come in my office in recruiting, and he was like mush mouth, and I was like, hey, I'm not recruiting this guy. Can't even talk. So I went in because Drudik recruited him. I said, bro, what? Dude, I'm not recruiting this guy. He was terrible in my office. He said, Coach, He's your type of guy. He jacked it up, but I'm telling you, you need to recruit him. I'll put my name on it. Well, what if
That's a strong
Leftwich,
endorsement.
and what if he's not here? I mean, we got guys look like you out there punting probably at that point. Like if he doesn't go to bat for him, then we don't even have a punter right now because the other guy broke his leg. So that's the other thing. Can you believe we had a punter snap his leg? I mean, like, again, this is like movie type. Like that never happens.
You're not allowed to touch a punter in practice, are you?
It's unbelievable. No, it's unbelievable. We're allowed to touch their young punters. They need to get some character development just like the rest of the guys.
But once again, Leftwich was a positive for your football team on Saturday.
And he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Drudik. I said, Drudik, I don't want to recruit him. And he went to work, which is what a good assistant should do, you know, if he's done the work and believes in that.
So we're going to talk with Coach Drudik. We're also going to talk with Nate Savarino to promote the homecoming game. So we won't have you back for another segment. But while you're still here, I do want to ask about Eastern Illinois. They have a quarterback, and he is very good. In fact, he set records at Georgetown University last year. So you're going to face a team with a really good quarterback. He was just named OVC Offensive Player of the Week. So you are going to face a very good quarterback, and he's one of the biggest reasons why they were nationally ranked going into their game last week.
Really the difference, I believe, in their season this year has been their quarterback compared to last year. You know, they got wins against Illinois State, who we know is a great program. And so he's done a really good job. He's played a lot of football. He's not turning it over. And so he's going to be a challenge. This team's going to be a challenge. I think that's one of the first things we've got to do is respect our opponent. They're not the team they were last year. We need to make sure we understand that and prepare just like we did for UCA and EKU and SIU. These are quality teams we're facing.
And they just beat a nationally ranked team, UT Martin. For those who don't know how that game ended, it went into overtime.
They lost to UT Martin.
Oh, what did I say? They won?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They lost to UT Martin. They went into overtime, and UT Martin got the ball first, scored a touchdown, kicked the extra point. Then it's EIU's turn. They scored a touchdown. They went for the win. They went for two, and the pass got batted down. Do you like, I mean, in a situation, I guess it would dictate how the game had been going. Would you go for two in a situation
totally
like that?
Depends on the game.
Okay.
If you're doing the percentage, you know, the more snaps, if you're the better team, you feel like the more snaps that you have, the more chance for that outcome to happen. Or are you tired? Or, you know, is the momentum, you know, so it's totally kind of just how the game goes. But they also had EIU lined up to kick a game winner in regulation and ended up getting blocked, or they would have won the game in regulation. So this is a quality opponent for homecoming, which is good, right? We're going to have a great crowd. We're going to get to see a quality opponent.
Yeah. They were nationally ranked last week. I probably fell out of the rankings with a home loss to a nationally ranked team. All right, we'll talk with Justin Drudik, assistant coach for the Redhawks. When we come back, thanks to Coach Tuke for his time. We'll also talk with Nate Savarino about the big homecoming game. By the way, that's a 2 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. More from Wings Etc. on the Coaches Show after this timeout on SEMO ESPN. Coaches Show. We are live at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. Programming note, we're going to be in Dexter next week. I double check that with Rachel. Yes, we will be in Dexter. So a little extra drive. If you want to join us in Dexter, we will be there. Their newest Wings Etc. location. Thanks to Coach Tuke for his time. Justin Drudik, wide receivers coach and responsible for kick returns. Anything else that you're responsible for on that football team, Coach?
Well, whatever Coach Tuke tells me to do the next day. That's about it. But I just do what I can to help the team.
All right. This one of the strengths of this particular football team has to be the wide receiver room. I mean, there is a lot of talent in that room. Am I right?
Yeah, we're senior heavy right now, so that's great for this year. Next year we need to continue to develop guys and get the next guys ready. But yeah, we got a great group, and I'm lucky to be coaching them. 4 seniors in that room, so it's been good.
All right. Obviously, people are excited about the return of Ryan Flournoy. You ever see a wide receiver play with a cast?
No. My wife's like, there's no way he's playing. And I was like, last week he was out there catching one-handed, so he's playing. But he's a tough kid, high character kid. He needs a hand and a half to catch everything. So he'll continue to get better as the year goes, getting used to that, and hopefully getting it off. So we'll see.
Have you coached many players or seen many players that are stronger at reception point than Ryan Flournoy? That is certainly a strength that I see.
Yeah, and you have some of that in Christian Wilkerson, but he's so physically strong even in the weight room, and that's what makes him great at it. If you look across our weight room numbers, he's the strongest wideout, whether that's benching, squatting, cleaning, explosion from the vertical, and that's what makes him good. And then he's competitive, right? He goes and attacks the ball, and he's different, he's special, and lucky to be coaching him.
Okay, what kind of speed does he have? I've seen him pull away from guys, and I know how focused, especially at the pro level, and I'm sure at the Power 5 conference level, FBS, how much they seem to be slaves to the 40-yard dash time. How fast is Flournoy?
Yeah, he's, if not the fastest guy on our football team. I think he's the most explosive wideout I've ever coached as far as pure speed. He's, those scouts come in and say, speed isn't everything in the NFL. They get guys that run 4.3s, 4.4s that can't separate.
Right.
But he's. I would be shocked if he doesn't run a 4.4 in the 4.3 area after he gets done training and doing all that type of stuff. But yeah, he's as explosive as they get.
I thought that he probably put himself on the map at SEMO with that catch he made early at Iowa State last year. I mean, you saw that catch on ESPN later that night and the next day. I mean, he kind of exploded onto the scene, and to me, that was kind of his coming out party. Whoa, this guy may be pretty special, right?
Yeah, which shows he came in pretty talented. I haven't done near as much as Tuke says I've done, but he was extremely, extremely talented coming in. He was actually, at that point, not that far off ACL injury either, because at Iowa Western he had ACL. But yeah, when we started game 1, we were sitting there telling scouts about this kid that they need to look at. They didn't even know who he was. Like, they didn't even have a write-up on him. They didn't have nothing on him. And now everyone knows who he is now. So that was part of the coming out party. But, he's earned everything he's gotten. He works harder than anyone else. He spends time on the weekends. He's different in everything he does. Like, if somebody else is doing it one way, he's going to do it a harder way. When we condition, he starts 3 yards behind the line when everyone else starts at the line. And that's what makes him great.
He's a show-off, is what you're saying.
Yeah. There's no humility. No, he's extremely. He's got great humility as well. But yeah, he wants to challenge himself and he wants to be coached, and that's what also makes him different. Is if I'm not coaching him for a day, it's hard to coach him because he does everything right for the most part. Not everything, but he does a lot right. It's easier to coach a kid that's really struggling because there's a lot to coach there, and it's hard to coach him, but he always wants to be coached. If you're not coaching him, he'll let you know. So.
And DeMaurier Vick, I mean, I know Flournoy gets a lot of attention. Well, he hadn't been playing lately because of the injury, and so you have really relied on DeMaurier Vick. And I thought even times where you're lining up, everybody knows you're going to pass, and really the Eastern Kentucky game, I thought for sure it's probably going to go to Vick, and he still makes the play.
Yeah, we've needed Vic the last few weeks, and he's stepped up for us, and he's played inside, outside for us. He knows everything. He's played a lot of football in his career, a lot of snaps. So he's got a very high IQ, got great body control. His lateral movement is really, really good. So, he's been a great weapon for us. He's stepped up for us, and really we need all those wideouts to continue to step up for us, because we are really the veteran group, and really this week was the first week they've all been on the field together. First it was Dalen and Ryan with the injury, so it's good to have them all back, and now we need to step up and make sure we're winning football games in the fourth quarter. So that's kind of our goal moving forward.
DeMaurier Vick just played his 52nd collegiate football game on Saturday. That's a lot of games.
Yeah, and I bet he started at least 40 of them. So he's got a lot of experience.
All right, Dalen McDonald, a guy gaining experience, and we see him getting better. At least I'm sure you probably do. It appears to me he's getting better, and it looks like DeLaurent is starting to be more confident with throwing the ball to Dalen McDonald, that he's got a chance to make a play.
Yeah, and Dalen's opposite of Vic. He was a junior college quarterback for a bit. He was a high school quarterback. This is really his third season playing wide receiver, I think. So he is getting better. He's always been explosive. We recruited him heavily for his punt return, kick return ability, knowing he's got some stuff to work on in the wide receiver, in the route running and all that. He's done a nice job. He's stepped up. He's probably one of the most unselfish kids I've ever coached. He came back from injury and wanted to give Joe Edric Lewis the punt return job back, and wanted to give Jack Clinkenbeard the starting job back. Like he just is always in it for everyone else, and that's why he's going to be a good coach someday too. But he's gotten better and better, and he's explosive, and hopefully he can continue that.
Justin Drudik, wide receivers coach for Southeast Missouri State, joining us now. You mentioned Jack Clinkenbeard. It had to be cool for you to see him get his first touchdown at Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, he's surprised me over the last 12 to 14 months. I tell him all the time, but last fall camp over a year ago, he kept dropping a few unders, and I was about done repping him, even with the threes. And I was like, I might need to put a freshman in there, and I was like, I'm going to give him one more day. And had a good day, and he's gotten better and better, and he works hard, and he walked on here. So he's been a great story for us. He plays a lot of special teams, and a reliable guy that's hopefully will continue to step up and keep getting better every year. But we're glad to have him.
You have to call him Clink, right?
Yeah.
They call him Clink?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
Clink
right.
is all we know.
So, Coach Really's been impressed with your recruiting. What are some of the keys to being a good recruiter, to being a good closer?
I think I've learned more from what not to do.
Really?
You make those mistakes. You try and learn from them. Try and look back and say, okay, why did that guy miss? Why didn't it work out? I think early on in those first couple of years, I didn't worry enough about their GPA. I think their GPA tells you a lot about their work ethic. I don't care if they have a 14 or a 30 on the ACT. That doesn't tell you anything about their work ethic. But that GPA does tell you a lot. I don't think I'm any better than any other recruiters on our staff, because like Ryan Flournoy got recruited by a lot of guys on our staff, and Vic was a huge influence by a lot of the other assistants and all that. So, but I have learned a lot over the years of the 6 years of being here about what is a red flag, what not to take, and GPA is a huge indicator on that, especially at a high school.
So you are from Nebraska. The only thing I believe, maybe you can prove me wrong, that they've got in that state is the Cornhuskers. There are no professional sport teams, so I'm sure you were probably a Cornhusker fan growing up, right?
Yeah, every weekend we would get together with other families and watch the Cornhuskers, and actually worked there out of college for a couple of years in recruiting, and they fired me, so then I became a Red Hawk fan for life. So, but they fired the head football coach and sent everyone out the door. So, but I'm still I still root for them, and they're kind of that second tier team, and hopefully they'll get it going a little bit. But
I was telling you, I don't know, in a national championship game, I can't recall seeing a more dominant team and a team dominate the opponent than Tom Osborne's Huskers when Tommy Frazier was a quarterback and just could not be tackled by the Florida Gators. And Lawrence Phillips, I mean, that's as dominant a college football team as I can remember, especially in a national championship game, the way that they destroyed Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators.
yeah, they used to run over people. That's changed a little bit, but they had a pretty dominant history there. I saw on game day last week a sign that said Nebraska's a volleyball school now. So I guess we're just a volleyball school now, but I still root for them, and my wife still turns on Nebraska volleyball now. So we'll keep rooting for them.
And they, for those who may not follow Nebraska volleyball, they just set the all-time attendance record. They played a volleyball game at the football stadium and sold it out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, 92,000.
All right, what do the Red Hawks have to do to get this homecoming victory on Saturday? A kick return from one of your guys and a few touchdowns from a couple of your guys, right?
A kick return would be nice. We need to hit a big play. But we all just really need to step up and make those plays at the end of the game. And it's so many little plays here and there that go the other way. So we just need to take advantage of those. And we got high character guys that'll get it done for us. So you can even feel it this morning meeting with our guys. Like they're not turning on each other. They got each other's back. So we're excited, and we're going to go win this thing out. I really believe that. If we don't, we're at least going to give them hell for a while. So
chance to stay unbeaten in the conference and go to 2-0. 2 o'clock game, Eastern Illinois on Saturday. Coach, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Thank you much. That is Coach Justin Drudik. Nate Savarino, his Kansas City Chiefs won another football game yesterday. He'll join us, talk about homecoming when we come back. Red Hawks Coaches Show, Wings, etc. on SEMO ESPN. Show final segment here with Nate Savarino, and you've had different titles over the years at Southeast Missouri State. What is your official title on your business card?
I'm our Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Operations.
Okay. Did it used to be referred to as External Affairs?
It did.
And then move to Operations?
Yeah, it did.
Kind of like Strategic Communications is no longer sports information.
That's right. I think there's more letters in it, so it's a way to compensate.
Very nice. And you do a lot of different jobs. When somebody says, what do you mean external operations? What does that mean? It's amazing. You have your hand in about everything. And literally, we're not kidding about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a relatively small team, and so really everybody does everything in the athletic department from an administrative standpoint. So really, my main functions are everything sort of external, fan-facing, everything from overseeing tickets and marketing and licensing, branding, fundraising, anything revenue generating. Of course, fortunate to have some really good folks that work with us, work on my team, and help do all the dirty work in some of those areas. But there's plenty of work to go around, and fortunate to be able to do it, and really it's really an honor to be able to do it at SEMO, my alma mater.
All right. One of the biggest days of the calendar year, certainly for the football team, is homecoming, and that's what we've got on Saturday, and it's going to start with the parade. Then it will translate into the tailgating. There is pregame activity. Tell us about the big day on Saturday, and let the fans know, okay, here is what is going to be on the table Saturday.
Yeah, and really, it's more than just a big day. This is the 150th anniversary of the university, and so, we expect this to be the biggest homecoming celebration in 150 years here at SEMO. So, a lot of the festivities actually get started Thursday. There's some Alumni Merit Award, an event at Academic on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. There's a big block party on Normal Avenue between Academic Hall and Kent Library. That's open to the public, free to attend. So we'd love to see people out there on Friday evening. I think that starts at 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that. Goes to about 7. And then, of course, Saturday is sort of the culmination of everything. So the parade will kick off at 9:30. That'll be from Kappahaw Park down to Main Street. The homecoming parade. We've got the Banterra block party right there on Bellevue Street in front of the stadium. That's going to open up at 10 o'clock. So right about as the parade's kind of passing by the stadium, once that's passed, we'll open that up.
And that's
We've got
a new
all the
thing.
Tailgating. Yeah,
4 hours of tailgating versus 2 in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it goes back, Coach Tuke's been talking about it for a long time since he came to SEMO. Like, we only get so many of these opportunities, and it's more than just football games. It's a football game day. So how do we make the football game day something to celebrate and something that we can cherish? Typically we get 5 or 6 of these a year. This year we only get 4, and so let's make that an experience that all of us at SEMO can be proud of and want to celebrate and enjoy. And I think we've done that so far. I mean, we've had a great atmosphere out there in front of the stadium the first couple of games. I expect nothing different this time. And of course, with homecoming, people always get started early anyway. So we'll have some parking lots open up at as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, actually. And but the Banterra block party there in front of the stadium starting at 10 and kick off at 2 o'clock.
So you are somebody that has been here a long time, so you remember what the tailgates were when you first got here versus what we have seen in the 2 home games this year. It's unbelievable. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's night and day, right?
I mean, when I was a student, tailgating was a tent in front of Houck Fieldhouse, and people came and got free beer and food. Like, that was it.
That was it.
Like, there was nothing else going on, and we've grown that over the years, and now we have people actually forget the free beer and food. Like, people are. You mentioned it before the break. I'm a Chiefs fan, right? So tailgating to me is parking in a parking lot, setting up behind your car, and actually, like, tailgating. Like, throwing your own party and everybody's throwing a big party. Like, that's tailgating. It's not going to a tent and getting free beer. And so for us to have grown that and to see what we've had so far the first couple of games this year is really exciting to me. And I think Saturday is going to be no different. It's going to be a heck of a party out there before kickoff, and then the party moves inside at 2 o'clock.
It's fun for fans to see the way the tailgating has evolved. But as somebody who has had a big hand in it, and I know you won't take credit for it, but it has to ring a little different for you because you've really helped along the way. A lot of other people did too, but it has to hit you kind of in a different way, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of what makes, getting up and getting out of bed to do this job so exciting for me is it's a place that I care so much about. I've got 2 degrees here from SEMO, and where I've had an opportunity to call home for more of my life than, where home is. So it's extra special to be able to just play a small role in kind of what we've built and developed here over the years. And you've excited to continue to do it.
You've done a nice job of converting me into being a Chiefs fan because I was so mad and hated the Rams when they left. When they stole our football team, I was like, I'm not rooting for anybody. And then I calmed down, and we have a team in this state.
That's right.
It's in Kansas City, and I came on board at the perfect time because they are a a dynasty. Let's face it.
Yeah, you picked a good time to start being a Chiefs
There we
fan
go.
because Tyler Thigpen and
Elvis Gerbach.
among others. Oh, Steve Bono.
Yes.
Oh man, there were some years in there. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun the last few seasons, and yeah, it's fun to be a Chiefs fan right now.
All right, and we are going to have a sellout on Saturday.
We're certainly anticipating one. I mean, our ticket sales as of I haven't looked today. On Friday, we had sold more tickets 8 days before the game than we did for the SIU game.
Okay.
So ticket sales were trending ahead of the SIU game. So certainly would encourage people to hop online, get your tickets in advance. There's a couple good reasons to do that. Number one, you get a better selection of your seats. Number two, you actually save a couple bucks on admission when you buy online, and that's even including the fees and stuff. And then you just avoid the lines on game days. You can download them right to your phone, just like going to a Cardinals game or anything like that. So we want people to go online, SEMORedhawks.com/tickets. Get your tickets online and just go ahead and get yourself set up.
And my wife loves that, and with her season tickets, she keeps them in her wallet on her phone. You've got a digital wallet, and she just pulls the ticket out. It's really cool. It's really easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just like a boarding pass or a Cardinals game or anything else. So I think the other thing that we want to make sure to bring, to everybody's attention as it relates to homecoming and all the festivities is just the parking traffic. That parade will be going from 9:30 to 10:30, so make plans. You won't be able to cross Broadway, between that time until before or after the parade. And then we have out on our social media, so if you go to Facebook /SEMO Redhawks, we've got a parking map, so there's lots of free parking options that are first come, first serve. There's a couple reserved lots, but you can find that parking map out on our social media. We'll get it posted to our website too. But that way you know where you can park for free, when those lots open up, that type of thing. And we'll have a game day shuttle going. If you park further away, like up by the Dempster, the business building, we'll have a game day shuttle running kind of back and forth.
And Southeast Health is going to open a lot specifically for this football game, right?
Yeah, so they have an employee parking lot at the corner of West End and Broadway, right there across from Kids. That lot really doesn't get used on Saturdays by their employees, so they're making that available for homecoming parking, and it's 2 blocks away from the front of the stadium. So I mean, you can't hardly park any closer than that. But like if you were at any sort of big school, it'd cost you thousands of dollars. So that's a good lot, and it's big. There's like 200 parking spots in there, so that'll be a spot that before or after the parade, if you can get to that one, that'll be a good spot to park.
How much did your stomach jump up into your throat when Kelsey went down yesterday?
It wasn't good, and I'll tell you why. Not just for the Chiefs, but I took Kelsey with my first-round fantasy pick. So that was about to be a double whammy for my fantasy team and the Chiefs. But see him come back in there, feeling good.
Yeah, and by the way, he came back in on a bad leg and caught the game-winning touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Are you on board with this Taylor Swift thing, or is it wearing you out?
Bring it on, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you're the longest running Chiefs fan that I know, so I had to get your input on the Taylor Swift. Are you a Swiftie?
Not really. I mean, I'll listen to her songs if it's on the radio, but I'm not dressing up in tutus or anything.
Okay. I don't want you to badmouth Taylor Swift. Rachel Cook is the biggest Swiftie. Follow her on social media, and every other post is about Taylor Swift, just so you know.
All right.
All right. Great stuff. Congratulations on the 150th anniversary celebration. I know congratulations on all the work that has been accomplished over there at that football stadium. What kind of feedback are you getting?
Great feedback. Great feedback. Everybody loves the stadium. Shout out to the Show Me Center too. I mean, we're putting some changes in place for concessions this week. I know that was a big concern for folks with the concessions lines those first 2 weeks. We've got new point of sale system installed. They're going to be adding at least one drink stand, sort of separate drink stand. So we're being able to have a little bit more time between games, able to make some adjustments. So hopefully that'll be improved this week for our guests. And otherwise, we're excited to have a beautiful day on Saturday, excited to host homecoming, and hopefully sell out the stadium.
So if you were concerned about concession lines, things are probably going to be much improved on Saturday.
Yep, that's the hope.
All right. Thanks for all you do for the university, Nate. We
Appreciate it. Thanks, you too, Eric.
All right. That is Nate Savarino, Director of External Operations, Associate Athletic Director at Southeast Missouri State. Thanks to Coach Tuke, Coach Drudik, Nate Savarino. Thanks to Rachel Cook on site here for River Radio. And thanks to Don Sean for doing the spotting in our press box booth on Saturday night. She was on top of everything. Appreciate her help. Stay tuned. ESPN Radio coming up. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. We'll be in Dexter next week. And don't forget, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff. 10 a.m. tailgate is when it gets going on Saturday. So long from Wings, etc.